Hey everybody, and welcome to the latest episode of the Rock Experience with Mike Brunn. On this episode, I'm joined by guitar player Rafael, and he'll share with us stories about what it's like recording and touring with Paul Stanley's Soul Station, as well as being a part of Paul Stanley's 2006 Live to Win tour. He'll also share with us stories about his band Magnetico playing on the Kiss Cruise 4 different years and getting to meet his childhood hero Ace Frehley. But that's not where his story ends. He's also been the touring guitarist as well as recording guitarist for Pink. He's toured with Christina Aguilera and others. He's also been the guitar player on The Voice, American Idol, and Rockstar. So he's got plenty of great stories to share with us. I think you guys will really be enjoying this episode. I know I did. Thank you so much for spending so much time with me, Rafael. It was a great chat. Now let's jump in and let's get started. Hey everybody, welcome to the latest episode of the Rock Experience with Mike Brunn. Today I'm really honored to have with me a guest whose resume to me is incredible. He's worked with Paul Stanley's Soul Station, Paul Stanley's Live to Win tour, Christina Aguilera, Pink, The Voice, American Idol. He's got his own band, Magnetico, solo album, and I'm missing a few things, right? Please welcome to the show, Rafael Moreira. Did I say that right?
You know, man, it was pretty impressive. It was close.
Okay, I'm sorry.
No, it's good, man. It's actually, you said Rafael, but it's
Uh-huh.
actually Rafael.
Rafael. Okay, very
Yeah, in
good.
Moreira, man, you said it amazing. Like,
Oh,
almost like you knew Portuguese. So
not even close. I could barely master the English language, but I'm glad I got close enough.
that's awesome. Very
Awesome,
impressive.
awesome, awesome. So, I really want to cover the whole spectrum of your career because I think it's amazing. I think the things you've worked on and accomplished are amazing. But if you don't mind, I'd like to just start with the current and the now, right? So, Kiss fans know I'm a big Kiss fan, that you've been working with Paul Stanley with Soul Station, an album coming out next week. Before we even talk about the album and the performances, did you grow up a Kiss fan?
Yeah, it's the reason why I play guitar.
Amazing. That's
Yeah,
amazing.
that's. I think we were. I was about 6 years old when I saw it. I saw Kiss on TV. It was I don't remember. It was too blurry, but
Hmm.
it's just seeing those guys were like superheroes, right?
Hmm. Right, right, right.
Went attached to that music,
Sure.
so it was kind of magical, for me. Um, I also started to listen to the Stones and all the English rock when I was very little. Me and my brothers, me and my older brothers, my parents, our parents bought us like instruments and stuff. My mom is a songwriter, pianist.
Hmm.
My
Okay.
dad wasn't musical at all. He
Okay.
was more the sports guy,
Right.
and
Probably
he
soccer, I
started.
would guess, right?
Yeah, absolutely,
Mhm.
man. We grew up playing soccer, so that was
Nice.
an important part of our upbringing.
Mhm.
My dad was an agriculture engineer, so farming and coffee, a lot of coffee farms and a lot of that stuff,
Wow.
And my mom brought the music, and once we saw that, we're very musical. I was learning guitar when I was 6 years old
Mm.
with some other kids from my class in school. So my mom was teaching us, and I think once I heard Kiss for the first time, I was like, Mom, what is this? And she said, well, that's the guitar. And I was like, that's what I want to do. So from that point, I knew I wanted to be a guitarist.
That is so awesome. So obviously, and we'll talk about it in a little bit, you played concerts with Paul Stanley on the Live to Win tour. But fast forward to the more recent 2015 or so, he decides to put together Soul Station. You get a phone call. Being a Kiss fan, is your first thought was, wait, hold on, Paul Stanley, R&B, Motown? Like, what was your reaction when you heard that's what he wanted to do?
Man, I've been playing so many different styles. I know Paul likes all kinds of music, and most of those guys love it, different types of music. You
Sure.
know, um, so it wasn't that, it wasn't shocking at all. I mean,
Okay.
it was like, yeah, man, I get it, I get it.
Right.
Something he grew up with. It's good
Right.
music.
Right.
You can't go wrong with that style of music. You might not like it, it might not be your cup of tea, but it's hard not to look at it and say, you know what, that's good music.
Right.
You know what I mean? It's timeless music, just like good rock and roll.
I agree. I mean, I'm going to be open and honest. Yeah, I'm not the hugest R&B Motown fan, but I'll be damned if I don't know pretty much every one of those songs because to your point, they're timeless and classic, you
Yeah.
know?
I think that there's a lot of that style back in the day that gets intertwined. It
Yep.
comes from the same era, and the blues,
Right.
rock and roll, you know. And I'm gonna go to say Motown, and then it gets to other places. Like rock and roll became different,
Sure.
when the kids start experimenting with heavier sounds, and everything goes to different places.
It does.
You get the blues, you get the English guys, and they transformed it. They
Right.
made something different out of it that we all love. I mean, it's like, I don't know anybody that don't love Zeppelin and Deep Purple. I mean,
Right.
I know people that don't like one or the other, but you can't deny how good that is. You know what
Very
I
true.
mean?
Very true.
Yeah.
So when you guys started performing live, was there anywhere? Because look, I'm a Kiss fan, and we know you said you were a Kiss fan as a kid. Kiss
Yeah.
fans could be a little fickle, right? They can be a little difficult.
I learned that. I learned that when I was touring the first time. In '06
Uh-huh.
with Live to Win. I saw it. I felt it on the spot.
Hmm.
I think they're a little bit resistant to new faces and new approaches to the music,
Yes. Yes.
which I understand as a fan.
Hmm.
But I'm a guitar player that grew up listening to all that stuff, and then I started playing in 1980. I didn't even know I existed. I was like, but the guitar was more important to me.
Right.
So I learned like how to be able to be creative by listening to Randy Rhoads and Ozzy and those guys that can kind of navigate rock and roll and improvise. You know what I mean? So
Absolutely.
I never seen that happen with Kiss that much.
Hmm.
When I came on board and Paul gave us the green light, hey, listen, this is not Kiss. Obviously, we're playing our classics, but let's be a little creative. Let's learn what we want. The fans want to hear. But hey, he gave us a little freedom, and it was fun.
Hmm.
It wasn't. We were not playing a Kiss show. The fans were not at a Kiss show. We were at a Paul.
Right.
Playing with Paul, and so I think once they were at the show and they felt the energy, I think everything went like great. You know what I
Right.
mean? Like, yeah, why not?
Right.
This is a different sort of approach to the Kiss music. Otherwise, why do it?
Right. Right. And I'll
That's
say this, I thought that you were true to the original, yet put your own spin on it. So if there was a song like, let's say, Got to Choose that you guys were doing on that tour, it was clear that it wasn't Ace Frehley playing, but yet it still didn't sound like it was coming out of left field. Whereas like, what song is this? What solo is this in the middle of a song? I thought it was, in my opinion, a perfect blend of the two.
I absolutely. I actually talked to Tommy during rehearsals. He came by and said hi. I really like Tommy, and he does that great.
He
You know what I
does.
mean?
Mhm.
And he
Agreed.
mentioned it, not half a. It's important. The Kiss fans, they really. But Ace was my first guy.
Mm.
That I listened to. I love Ace,
Hmm.
but I do have a personality, man. I have a voice. I wanted people to hear my voice too,
Yes.
with
Yes.
all the respect and to my hero.
Mhm.
I'm
No.
not there to disrespect Ace or anybody. I'm just here to take from where it was left with Paul, not in Kiss.
Right.
If I ever would play with Kiss, I'd probably be more conservative.
Right.
You know what I mean? To the Kiss sound, but that wasn't Kiss. It was Paul, and we're
It was Paul.
and bringing this new blood, and it was a lot of fun, man. It was probably the best shows we ever had, or I ever had in my entire life. I mean, we would talk about it,
Mm.
the energy, the fun, the oh my God, man, just you playing with Paul, you playing you
Right.
shit songs. I mean, this is incredible.
Right, right, absolutely. Yeah,
I
and
mean,
I
it's
went to the New
crazy.
York City show, and it was to me an amazing show.
Oh,
The
yeah, I
band
remember
sounded
that
great.
show.
Yeah, yeah.
It's like
So
1,000 people, and it's
yeah,
like you can feel it, right? You can
yes,
feel it.
absolutely. So, but it's interesting to hear, and I'm not surprised to hear you'd get that feedback at first. But now looking at the Soul Station stuff, I'd have to think those first few shows you did with Soul Station, was there any nervousness from the band and from Paul? Like, how is this going to be received? Right now, people are used to it. They know Paul's doing this. But in
Right.
2015, I think for some Kiss fans, it was a shock at first. Like, what? Oh, yeah. Was there any nervousness about how the shows would be received?
I can understand that because obviously I got a couple guys in front of me on one or two shows when I was playing on the Live to Win tour
Mhm.
that were a little bit like skeptical. But I think
Sure,
after the first show, when you bring it, they're like, "Whoa, let's," they're on board, and that's really
sure.
nice. You know what I mean? And it makes you feel good, and because you want that, you want the crowd, you want the
Of
fans to
course.
feel good, and we're all in the same boat. But man, I don't think so because you're already going to play the show. You're already announcing what you're playing.
True. Mhm.
Now, how you receive it, it's a very personal experience. I wasn't there as a fan in the crowd or sitting and watching it. I was part of the process on creating that sound with Paul and Eric, and I was able to bring a musical director for Paul that I worked in the past that is incredible from Italy. This guy is incredible, like his dad was the guy that whistled in all the spaghetti western movies
Oh, wow. Okay.
from Rome. I mean, we're talking about a lineage there.
Hmm.
And I thought he was a good guy to play with Paul, to MD the gig, so I
Okay.
can have a little bit of freedom and play. And Paul have this guy that he can go to and communicate and have a band that backs him up,
Sure.
that we work it out the songs together. So the process was very nice. Always been amazing.
Hmm.
Like the feeling that we all have when we're playing with Paul. Either playing the Kiss material
Hmm.
or playing this. Obviously, I love rock and roll.
Hmm.
Not gonna lie, but this music is very special to me as well. Because it's timeless music. So I didn't feel that, but I would like to know. I would like to talk to fans and hear their experiences because
Hmm.
obviously some liked it, some didn't, some loved it. Some
Yeah.
of them maybe it grew on them. Wow,
Right.
this actually sounds good because we got Eric, man,
Right.
playing with us. I mean,
You're
this
playing with half of Kiss in that, and obviously
yeah,
12 or 13 other
yeah,
people.
two Kiss guys, and
Mhm.
and I had an experience with Paul before, and then you have guys that played with everybody,
Sure.
amazing musicians. So there's no like shortage of talent on stage, and so regardless of the experience, you're going to 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 get a good experience there, musical experience, no
And I
matter
think,
what.
yeah, I've never been fortunate to see you guys live. Most of the shows have been on the West Coast. I'm on the East Coast.
Right.
But certainly watching the videos and seeing what you guys have done, there's no denying that the unit as a whole is just phenomenal. Every player, from Paul to you to Eric and everybody else involved, it's such an incredibly tight band, great vocals, just great all around. So it's actually made me change my opinion of the whole thing because I started off saying, yeah, I don't know. Now I'm like, damn, when are they coming to the East Coast?
Man, I totally understand it. Obviously, I understand
Yeah,
that.
yeah,
That's why I said, I can't answer that question because I wasn't in the audience.
sure,
I
sure.
was in the process. So when you're inside, even though we know how we feel as Kiss fans, I can
Sure.
separate myself.
Mhm.
from that and understand why some people are mad. Or you got to understand, Paul has dedicated his whole life to Kiss.
Agreed.
There's nothing wrong with doing something on the side.
1000% agree.
And he's a great singer. I love his singing.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, go do something different here and there. Go back to Kiss. Kiss is playing. I went to see them play. I was like, wow.
Mm-hmm.
This
Yep.
guy really for real? This is amazing. I blown away with everything.
Sure.
But
Sure.
we can't forget,
Yeah. No.
these guys are not 20 years old.
No, it's amazing, right? Because they're in better shape than me, and they're 20 years older than me, but more power to them. So
I have to, look at it with that set of
agreed.
eyes.
Agreed. So when did Paul approach you and the rest of the guys about doing an album? I know you guys started recording a couple of years ago. When did the conversations first start coming up?
I think I got to give up to Paul for creating this environment.
Mhm.
It's really cool. If you're there, it's amazing, man. It's a lot of fun. We toured Japan,
Mhm.
and I gotta tell you, man, Paul sang 2 shows per night
Amazing.
and never missed a note.
Amazing.
I was like, wow,
Mhm.
playing, and we did. It was like a 12-day tour in between Tokyo and Osaka.
Mhm.
So yeah, it's very, very, very impressive. I think the album just it was a natural thing, right? Like you playing shows,
Mhm.
we're adding new songs. Paul wanted to start writing originals,
Mhm.
and it was just a natural progression of the whole thing. It wasn't like, oh, let's just do an album. No, this became a little bit of a family thing. Everybody enjoys being there. We got to do shows, and with all the difficulties that we're talking about, that
Mhm.
a little bit, some people are a little bit reserved, and some
Sure.
people are all for it. Wow, why not? Yeah,
Mhm.
just gonna do something different. Let's check it out. Is that
Mhm.
cool?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
There's nothing wrong. Kiss is touring. I'm going to see Kiss.
Right. There's no reason you can't have both, and there's no reason. I always say this: Paul's earned the right to do whatever he wants with his career, right? I mean, he's earned that. He owes fans nothing in my mind, right? And I love the fact that he's converted people like myself to be open to this and say, hey, that actually is really good. And the new songs that I've heard actually sound really good. And, I guess one of the thoughts I had is you just said before, there were songs going in and out of the set list through the years. As you guys decided to record the album, were there other songs that you guys started to record and maybe put on the shelf or finished recording and didn't make the album, right?
Oh, no, absolutely. Certain songs that we were playing live didn't make to the album. You
Mm-hmm.
know, and Paul also added a few originals,
Yes.
which were really well crafted and well written. What makes the band really cool, man, is that sometimes, like if we're in the studio, we never rehearsed anything. You know,
Hmm.
we go in there, look at my friend will maybe get a sheet, a music sheet, and we just go for it.
Okay.
And it's just like there's certain musicians that can do that.
Right.
I grew up as a garage guitar player, and like just like everybody else. But when I moved to the States, the reason why I moved here was to go to school. That was my education, and I
Mm-hmm.
was lucky enough I got one.
Right. Right.
And that prepared me to do all the work that I have done.
Right.
Otherwise, I couldn't even be there or
Right.
in that room. I mean, what are you going to do? You're just going to play your own tunes? No, you got to play somebody else's music on the spot, quick, without mistakes.
Mm-hmm.
So,
That's
music education helped me to be able to play anything at any time in any key
mm,
and improvise on top of it.
right.
Which is, my brain just like burns. I just get home like, I don't want to see anybody, man.
That's great.
Just
So then
done.
are there any other recordings with Soul Station that are sitting on the shelf somewhere?
I I couldn't tell, to be honest.
Okay.
Like, we did what we do without much rehearsing at all. Like,
Gotcha.
because we knew the tunes, but I think most of the stuff that we recorded, that we chose to record, is on the album.
Makes sense.
It
Makes
wasn't
sense.
like, oh, we record 15 songs, let's take five and throw it away, or throw the
Okay.
shit.
Right.
It wasn't like that. We kind of knew what to record.
Okay.
You
Makes
know,
sense.
let's do this amount of songs, and I think Paul is really happy with the results.
Yeah.
We're all pretty happy, you know, and
As you should be.
yeah,
As you
you
should be.
know, I I'm a guitar player, man. You know, like we pride ourselves in a lot of ways on the tone and solos. In this case, I wanted to be for me. I wanted to be a team player. I wanted to play for the music. What can I do to help the music sound good and not make it about me at all? You
Mm,
know?
sure. Now, do you feel any pressure as a musician, though? I mean, we said before, these are timeless classics, right? We're not talking about songs people don't know here. Was
Right.
there any pressure as a musician to kind of live up to these re-recordings, living up to those originals?
I I have so much respect for those guys that were recording those songs. You know, a lot, a lot, and I just wanted to do a good job, man. You know what I mean? Just to do a good job where if you never heard what I played, it meant it was right.
Okay.
Twist, you know, it's like
Mhm.
what?
Right.
We're guitar players that pride ourselves in taking solos and murder the guitar, man. Eat
Right.
it. I want to eat the neck. Ah,
Right.
you
Right.
know what I mean? Like
Right.
balls out.
Right.
But for you to dial back and understand, obviously my career taught me that, you know, having played with so many people in so many situations where you have to look at your ego and say, you know, dude, chill out.
Right. Right.
You know what
Well,
I
I'm sure
mean?
that's part of the reason you've been successful in all the things you do is because they are very different and you've learned to adapt and adjust to each one.
It's not easy. I would love to Richie Blackmore everybody.
Well, let me ask you something. As a guitar player, right? I see behind you, you've got at least a dozen, probably more guitars. When you're doing this Soul Station stuff, is there like a special or a different guitar that you go to compared to that Randy Rhoads or Richie Blackmore style playing that you normally do?
You know, yeah, man. I used some tellies. I like tellies. I think they're great, you know, for this music.
Okay, yeah.
Stuff
Hmm.
like that, like
Nice.
52s, some 335s.
Okay.
I just went to the sound, you know, to the
Sure.
classic sounds that were used for the era.
Right. Makes
I
sense.
I didn't go to a, let's put it this way, Mike. I didn't sacrifice though everybody's time to make my sound more important than the project.
Sure.
So I simplified everything.
Right.
You know what I mean? I just had a good distortion that if I did a solo, it will cut and sound fat and nice and velvety,
Hmm.
and a good, clean, sparky, you know, that had a vibe. That's
Right.
it.
Right.
Once in a while, I like throwing colors in there. I'm a
Hmm.
colorful guitar player where I like to use tremolos and
Sure.
Leslies and delays if I need to. I love
Okay.
doing that.
Hmm.
Not just a dry play, which I can do and I love. Give me no pedals, man. Let's go.
Let's go. Wow.
Safety net. That's how I learned. That's how I grew up.
Right. That's
But
cool.
learning how to use pedals to color something, it's when you're cooking, you throw spices in there.
Hmm.
You know what I mean?
Makes sense. Totally makes sense. Now, in November, you guys recorded, I believe, like 5 or 6 videos for this album, right? And I
Yeah.
know Paul's released Ooh Child, and today actually reached IOI. I've released IOI.
I haven't
Um,
seen it yet, so
yeah, so I watched it. It was the first time I heard the song, and I'm like, that's just a catchy. That's a damn good song. I don't care what style it is. A good hook is a good hook. That's a damn good song. But what other videos did you guys record? Could you say?
I can't. I
Fair
can't.
enough. I had a feeling you'd say
I'm
that.
just like I'm my brain is like you know what I mean?
Uh-huh. Mhm.
Between everything I'm doing right now, recording here, I people always ask me, how do you play 15 songs on a TV show in one take?
I was going to ask you that. Yeah.
And you own it, but then I don't carry that around like a hard drive, I
Oh
make
wow.
space to write. I make space to be creative.
Hmm.
You know what I mean?
Totally.
If
Yeah.
you if you're working with so many different things, I wanted to always be fresh, have a fresh start, and clean up all that.
Mm.
You know what I mean? That makes it easier for me to memorize for that specific gig,
Makes sense.
and then take it out, throw it away, and then make room for new things so I can always keep it fresh.
That totally makes sense to me. So you mentioned before, obviously, that you were on Paul Stanley's Live to Win tour. What's the difference working with him on Soul Station compared to the Live to Win era? Is there a difference in Paul and working with him?
Mm. Um, well, Paul is really cool, man. Gotta understand that I worked with a lot of artists. Paul is definitely one of the coolest people I ever worked with. Why? He's the first one in the room. He cares, man.
Mm-hmm.
I respect that a lot. I care about music. I care about my playing.
Mm-hmm.
I care about my writing. So if I work with an artist that cares, as much as I do, I like wow. And he was like that on the Live to Win
Mm-hmm.
tour, and he's like that now. You know what I mean? I'm not putting anybody down that I worked with in the
Mm-hmm.
past,
Right.
but I think pop artists tend not to understand what music's about or musicianship, and
Okay.
and that's a huge turn off to me.
I can understand that.
Huge turn off because, dude, that's your boat.
Mm.
Don't you want to drive it a little?
Sure.
It's like you're gonna let somebody drive it for you. Just walk in and sings your. What about everybody here?
Right.
Just
Right.
gonna hang out with your dancers?
Right. Right. Right.
It's
Man.
funny. So Paul is one of those guys. Like I always felt, he cares. He he likes to drive. He doesn't mind if, to have other people with input,
Mm-hmm.
and that's really cool. He's a smart guy, right? You
Right.
got great people around, and everybody can it's like a democratic sort of a little company that like we talk to each other
Right.
like
Right.
this country, like we are talking. We can talk. Maybe we don't like the certain things, but it's okay.
Right.
What
Right.
is the biggest? What is the bigger picture here? What is it
Right.
going to make the best out of that sitch?
Mm-hmm.
We do
What
that.
what was there any songs on the Live to Win tour, Kiss songs that you guys rehearsed and then said, "Nap, that's just not working. Put it to the side."
No, I don't
No.
remember that. But I,
Okay.
but I, but I was so into that tour, man.
Yeah.
Come on,
It's a great set list. Incredible
it's,
set list.
it's like rocking out with Paul, and
Yep.
and, and and then being able to freestyle a little bit and add
Mm-hmm.
some of those, some leads that maybe wasn't there at the outros, but we
Right.
rock out at the outro. Bring some heat.
Right.
Let's
Right.
bring some heat to the
Right.
song. There's nothing wrong with it. I love it. I love the tunes. I love Kiss.
Yeah. No,
I
look,
mean,
I'll still listen to the One Live Kiss CD and DVD. I think the songs sound great. Songs like A Million to One, like I said
oh my
before, Got
God,
to Choose. They sound great.
Which one? Yeah, I love that song. I love the solo. And to be fair, I think we recorded the DVD 2 weeks into the tour,
Hmm.
which we were not that dialed.
Right.
And I'm like, I would never be happy with my performances.
Okay.
It's very hard for me to accept certain things. Like, it's just, I'm a bit of a perfectionist, so
Okay.
that's my, thing.
So you watch that or listen back to that and you say, I'm not happy. We had better nights than that.
No, I just think, like, I like it a lot. I
Mm-hmm.
like our singing.
Mm-hmm.
I like how we sound, with the BVs, the backing vocals. I like the
Yep.
parts. I like my solos. I like the energy. But to tell you that I didn't maybe sound better here or there, I mean, obviously I think music and athleticism is a little bit intertwined because we're performers,
Right.
and you have muscles, and you get better, you get stronger, you know, and you get better sounds, you dial better your
Mm-hmm.
sound. and that's just how it is.
Right.
But it's not about me, it's about the band, it's about Paul, and I respect it, I love it.
Hmm.
I don't
Right.
want to make it about me, man.
Right.
I'm
Right.
just sharing details with you and the
Right.
crowd here that is
Right.
listening to us,
Right.
that if I could be better, I always want to be better.
Well, you're obviously very modest. So, now
No.
I'll say this. You've had your own band, Magnetico, right? Who've played on the Kiss cruise, opened for Kiss, right? So there's that Kiss connection with your band. So
Yeah.
talk about that, like your band getting the opportunity to play on the Kiss cruises and in front of Kiss fans.
You know, I that was well, when we opened for Kiss, man, it was 4 days after my dad passed.
Hmm. Okay.
So that
Sorry.
was a tough one on me
Sure.
because I had arranged how to go to Arizona to do the show on 4th
Okay.
of July,
Mm-hmm.
and I had my crew. So then you get the news, your dad passed. Luckily, I was with my father a month before for his birthday.
Okay. Okay.
I
Good.
hung out with my dad for maybe a month and watched soccer games with him. So I didn't know it was like you know, like I was saying goodbye to my dad
Sure.
then.
Mm-hmm.
So I spoke to my family. I couldn't get to Brazil in time for the funeral and then come back.
Right.
Because in Brazil, we don't wait weeks to do a
Right.
funeral. We do it like a day or two after. So if my dad passed, how am I going to leave a rehearsal, find a plane ticket that wouldn't leave until the next day? I lost a day.
Right. Right.
Go home for 16 hours flight, then drive to the
Mm.
small town and then try to come back. It's like it's a tough one. I have made that choice when I was a little kid to pursue this. It never came easy, no
No.
matter what anybody people might think, ah, who is this guy? Why is this guy with all those guitars behind him? This is my
Yeah.
work. This is
Hmm.
the result of the many sacrifices that nobody knows.
Did you have the support of your parents and your family to pursue this?
100%. Did I
That's
have
awesome.
did I have, hey, here's a Gibson Les Paul, here's a Marshall? Never.
No, right. Hmm.
I never had that.
Hmm.
I never bought a guitar like on that level. My first good guitar I bought when I was 15 or 16. Mind you, I was playing since I was 6.
Hmm.
And I bought an Ibanez guitar. You know, I saved a little bit of money and I did a trip to Miami with some high school friends.
Hmm.
And man, when I got into the store, my oh my God.
Right.
If you walk into a music store in these states, man, it's just incredible, man.
Hmm. Right. Right.
It's just I was yeah, I was blown away. I bought the guitar,
Right.
went home, and I just yeah, I was in love with this instrument.
Right.
So for me to be here and with endorsements throughout my career, yeah, you really yeah, it humbles you and it makes you grateful.
Hmm. That's awesome. So the people maybe haven't heard your own band, Magnetico, talk about the influences, the style of music that is, right? Since you have such a diverse background, just explain to people what the influences of your music is.
Yeah, it's not Kiss like
Right.
music. Uh, what I like doing, man, is creating music that is a little bit of it has a progressive vibe, like that takes you into places,
Hmm.
but it's also river like, meaning that melodically speaking and the arrangements, they're river like. Music should flow, in
Sure.
my opinion, with guitar solos that sometimes are open, and we can actually bring that mentality of, okay, now we're here, man, let's juggle this thing together as a band and take anywhere we want.
Hmm.
Because I like that. I like the I'm an improviser, so why not bring that to rock a little bit,
Hmm.
and be able to improvise on an outro of a song and not and throw bait at the drummer. That's what
Right.
these 70 fusion bands used to do.
Mhm.
And I like that. I like fusing that to rock and roll.
Hmm.
I mean, let everybody else do what they're doing and playing what they did on the album. I want to kind of push the envelope and sort of change it around and give the public something new every time.
Hmm.
You know, I don't need to play the same solo every time.
Right.
Some of the solos are more, it's almost like a composition. So yeah,
Right.
sure.
Right. Right.
But some of the solos I like to leave it open so we can improv.
Right.
That's the mentality behind the band. Um, we always perform as a trio, so it's
Yep.
very open and there's more space.
Yep.
And
Yep.
so that's what it is. It's heavy, hard rock heavy, with a progressive twist and a little bit of a fusion jazz mentality on the openness.
Right. That makes sense. That's
Yeah.
great, great description. So I've seen you actually perform a few times on the Kiss cruises, right? So what are some of your favorite memories from performing or being on the Kiss cruise? Any memories stick out for you?
Yeah, I mean, I definitely. I think the first Kiss cruise we did was the simplest Kiss cruise we did. When I say simplest, it's just it was so last minute.
Okay.
I didn't know I was going to go on the Kiss cruise,
Hmm.
but I think Eric heard the music, and I was like, dude, you gotta go on the Kiss cruise, man. He liked the music. He's like, this is really cool. So we were at the Roxy here in LA, and I think he mentioned it to Doc. Paul didn't know about my band. I
Okay.
don't bring that into anything I do.
Right.
I just keep it separately. And I think Eric mentioned it to Doc, and like, Doc, Hoffa needs to be on the cruise. Got a cool band. And it's like, Doc, look at me. Oh, really? Okay, done. I was
Oh,
like,
wow. Okay.
is that how it works? Because I don't know how it works, man.
Right. Right.
So, we ended up going last minute with little, like no money. I couldn't bring my crew. I couldn't bring my
Right.
tech. So, not our sound guy or tour manager, none of that. So it was just the three of us.
Sure.
And we had a ball.
Hmm.
We became we became friends with the bands that were there on that Kiss cruise. I think it was the five Kiss
Yep.
cruise. Five, yeah.
Right.
I remember talking to Ross Parrish, which studied at MIT as well,
Okay.
the music school I went to. Just say, hey man, what's up? Good to see you. And I gave him an album. And the next day he's like, dude, he
Yeah.
liked
Right.
it.
Right. Hmm.
So we made good friends on that Kiss cruise. I love when people that I respect musically likes my music.
Right.
If it's genuine, it's a beautiful compliment that makes you feel really good. It goes straight to your soul because you have respect for someone, and they don't have to like your music. It doesn't matter.
Yeah. Well,
And
I'll pause you for 1 second here because I feel like I have to share this with you right now.
yeah,
So I've been on 8 Kiss cruises. I think I've seen pretty much every single band on every cruise, multiple times. The
yeah,
only time I could remember Paul Stanley, Eric Singer, and Tommy Thayer watching another band was yours.
yeah. I
You
remember
know,
that blew me
across
away.
all the cruises, no other band. That's
I
just
never felt that love in the room, and it was about musicianship, and it was about what I like, and I was going to get to that you said.
yes.
You mentioned it, but and I'll go back to Steel Panther after this.
Sure. Okay.
Our last show, man, it was like almost like this bunch of people, man. It's like people were kind of like, and then you see Paul showed up,
Hmm.
sits in the front row.
Yep.
I think they got him a little seat, a little chair in there in front
Yep.
of everybody. Tommy was there, and Eric was sitting next to us with some other people.
Yep.
And that's how I always enjoyed music when I watch old Deep Purple videos or Zeppelin. Like you see all these people on stage hanging out and
Yep.
watching people play, and that's to me huge because we're bringing what we love, which is rock and roll, the community, and the love for music and musicianship that has been
Yep.
forgotten. We don't know who's playing, who is the musician, who is the drummer. That's like I want to know who is playing, man.
Right.
Who's producing that beat, that voice, who's playing bass. I want to. That's what I grew up with.
Sure.
So for me to have that, without a sound guy, tour manager, nobody helping us on that first one,
Mhm.
and having our heroes hanging out with us,
Sure.
it's a bigger validation, you know. I don't know if the fans get what we do or even like it, and I
No,
respect that.
I think they do because I know people on the cruise who hope you guys come back on a regular basis. You've been
Yeah,
back 4 times. That must
I
be because
know.
people are requesting you.
Yeah, no, I love that,
Mhm.
man, Mike. Seriously, it's that was a huge thing for me.
Mhm.
Almost like, it's almost like a you're in a dream, man. Really,
Sure.
you're playing Paul and Tommy, and Tommy's a cool guy. I love his
Yeah,
playing. I think he's done an amazing job in Kiss,
agreed. Agreed.
and
Agreed.
and Eric is into all that stuff I'm talking about. The playing, we exchange a lot of videos of the 70s fusion, and the musicians.
Right.
Like musicians, we like listening to people play, and I think if you can combine great musicianship with great songs, it's the best combination you can have.
Hmm.
Talking about in a traditional way, obviously.
Right.
We're in
Right. Of course.
2021 and people are making music on a computer that can't even play guitar.
Right.
Creative people are going to use whatever medium they have. I'm not
True.
criticizing that.
Nope. Hmm.
But if you want to be on stage, you got to have some sort of scale.
Right.
You, you,
Agreed.
you got to be, if you're going to dance, you got to dance. It's your body.
Sure.
How are you going to use the computer to dance?
Right.
How are you going to become the best athlete you can be? You need to use your body. You need to have a body experience.
Well
You can
said.
be the best gamer,
Right.
but you can't go on stage.
Right. Great point.
So you can make the best music, which I like too,
Hmm.
using computers for you.
Sure.
Great. I like it. I will
Right.
listen. I'll
Right.
go on a drive
Right.
listening to that stuff. It's okay. I'll detach. I don't need
Hmm.
to listen to a drummer or
Right.
a keyboard player. That's fine. I like music. How are you going to perform that if you can't? You don't have the scale. You don't have the body experience. We're still human beings. We're not just a brain walking around.
Yeah.
So I think with technology, there's a disconnect. And I jumped into something else without the question, but
No, no, no. I'm good.
I'm
Please.
just saying I love great musicians that have soul and can write great music.
Hmm.
If
Hmm.
you're a great musician that is only technical, I appreciate that, but it's not going to do for me because I like songs.
Right. And you know, I'll say this, that to me comes through on your solo album, right? Acid Guitar,
Oh yeah,
right? If
that's
you listen to that, man, and there's some songs that are what, 12, 13-minute long songs.
no
They start
metronome,
off,
one take. Yeah,
what was
one take.
that? One
It's
take.
one
That's
take, no
amazing.
metronome. Yeah,
That's amazing. But all
early
that
on, man.
that love of music that you're talking about to me comes through. And it's amazing to me how a song could start with like a soft, almost like acoustic style sound. All of a sudden there's this massive drum parts, there's keyboard parts, and there's a wailing guitar solo. It's just like it's like it's I know you said it's jazz fusion, like it's really mixing all these different elements together. And I just think if you're a musician and you listen to this and you don't like it or get it, you probably shouldn't be playing a musical instrument then, because it's really a crazy great trip.
Yeah, no, I appreciate you bringing it up. I
Yeah.
totally forgot. Yeah, my first album is this trip, man. I don't know. I mean, you breathing music. It was a time when I was going to school and and hanging out with your friends and making music all day,
Hmm.
and you create the soundscapes. And no matter how long the song is or its partsy, but as long as river-like, they make sense.
Sure.
That's what I like. If it makes sense, it can be very simple, it can be well arranged, but it gotta be river-like.
Right.
As long as it flows. And man, I get to play that album in all my clinics. I get to play live and do this improv jazz thing, which is totally on 180 from the rock that I
Yep.
love
Absolutely.
too. So it's hard sometimes to, how do I say, Mike, to relate to everyone
Hmm.
because you're this walking conflict or
Sure.
or combination of music.
Right.
Some people won't get you or
Right.
like because they want a definition. They
Right.
need to point the finger and say, "You're not AC/DC, dude."
Right. Right.
No, I am, dude. Angus Young is my guy. I love
Right.
it.
Right, right,
but
right,
but I can't just do that because he did it.
right. Yeah.
Where am I gonna take it?
And to me, when I listen to that solo CD, again, there's elements that you're never going to think that it's AC/DC or Black Sabbath, but then all of a sudden the guitar solo comes in, and I'm like, I hear Randy Rhoads in that. This is not Ozzy Osbourne music, but damn, I hear Randy Rhoads in that solo there. I can hear the influence, and I think that's cool.
Yeah, we're a combination of what we listen to our whole lives.
Hmm.
Uh, we are what we listen to.
Yeah.
We are what we eat. Unfortunately, because we eat crap sometimes. Good tastes good, you're gonna eat it.
True.
And we are our thoughts, man. It's crazy,
Agreed.
right?
Agreed. So,
I, I,
while we're talking about these records, right, I just want to make sure people who are watching this, Kiss fans that are watching this, how do they find these records? If they're interested in saying, hey, I want to give this a listen, where do they find it?
um, well, it's on Spotify, both Magnetico albums,
Hmm.
Songs About the World and Death Race. And my acid guitar albums also on Spotify or Apple Music.
Yep.
Or you can check out my website at www.rafael, which is spelled Rafael.
Hmm.
My last name, which is Moreira or Moreira, and it's Moreira.com.
Hmm.
Yeah, man, you can find a lot of that stuff on my website. Even order the albums if you want a
That's
physical
cool.
CD.
Hmm.
And I
And
am
what I'll
on.
do for people who are watching on YouTube, I'll put the link below the video so that this way
Yeah,
they don't have to
no
worry about
problem.
spelling it. They can just go click on that link and go check it out because
It's always
it's cool
it's always
stuff.
been a little bit of a challenge, because I have a Portuguese last name,
Hmm.
with Italian background from grandmothers,
Hmm.
and my name is like Latin with it's Portuguese. It's pronounced like a Portuguese, language, which the R has an H sound.
Right.
So
Right.
it's Rafael instead of Raphael.
Right. Look, I'll be honest. When I first saw your name, I thought it was Raphael, but I said, before I just butcher this on my own, let me do a little research on it. So.
Mike, it's all good, man. I'm so used to the butchering, man. It
Uh-huh.
comes from best friends sometimes.
Oh, really? Yeah. Well,
Well, it's just people. It's just you know.
sure.
I don't expect everyone to get it right. I mean, short for Rafael, it's Hafa.
Hmm.
So I just say Jimmy Hafa.
There
Oh,
you go. Right.
Hafa. Yeah,
Right.
yeah, great.
Right.
And
Right. There
then
you
we
go.
simplify everything.
Right. Right.
But,
Now, was Magnetico on Kiss Crusade also, right? That was the
ah,
one that had, so I'll ask you this way. Kiss Cruise 8 was the one that had Ace Frehley on it, right? So I
dude, yeah.
thought that year you guys were playing, and you were saying Ace was your guy. So did you get to meet him that year?
Yes.
All right. Any stories you could share?
Yes.
Okay.
A weird one.
Okay.
Um, I don't even know. Anyway, I met him. When we were getting into the cruise, and he was awesome. We, gave me a hug.
Hmm.
It's Ace, man. It's my
Hey.
favorite guy, and it's kind of weird, but I love the guy no matter what.
Mhm.
I leave it there. It's
Yep.
fine.
Talking like a true Kiss fan.
Yeah, yeah. And I love his '78 album. That's my favorite album of all time,
That's awesome.
especially from Ace. I think his
Mhm.
best work. And
Agreed.
so you got to understand it. I have a big journey, like on playing different styles and making my music. So at one point, I am making my music. I'm not just a fan that
Sure.
is listening to music every day. But that's one of the albums that it's always there.
Right.
You know,
Hmm.
just like some of the Kiss albums, or even Paul's first solo album that I still like his writing, how he feels and stuff. But so the funniest part of the Ace, my interaction with him was that Ace was at the artist lounge hanging out, and
Okay.
he wanted to play ping pong,
Okay.
and I'm a ping pong player.
Oh, okay. Uh-oh.
Yeah, I have my table. I bought my paddles in Japan. I play Chinese, Japanese style, penhold.
Okay.
That's a sport that I'm proud of myself that I play.
Hmm.
So my tech runs. I was actually hanging out in my I don't know what you call it, in my room, but
Okay.
what do you call it in the cruise? I forgot. But
Cabin.
the
The cabin.
cabin. Yeah,
Yep.
I was hanging out in my cabin, and he's like, "Rafa, you gotta come. Ace is upstairs playing paintball, so come. You need to play with Ace."
Hmm.
And I try to be cool, but he's like, "Hey, Rafa's playing with a weird. Oh, he's look at." He kind of started commenting that I played different. Oh man.
Okay.
And I never hit it I wasn't hitting it hard. I just wanted to rally with Ace freely,
Sure.
back and forth. But he kind of got into it.
Okay. Hmm.
And I just remember he giving up, like throwing the
Oh
paddle away. I just,
no.
that's not what I wanted.
Right.
I want to hang out
You're
with
playing
Ace,
ping
man.
pong with your guitar hero, and he's like, "That's it, I'm out of here."
Yeah, I want to hang out with Ace. I didn't
Right.
want to, but that's how I play, man, you know?
Right. Right. That's a
Yeah,
good
that was
story.
my funny story with Ace, and I haven't seen him since, or
He must be
heard. I always,
practicing. He's maybe practicing for the next time you guys play.
I always leave that like, you, you know, I'm just a kid, man. Like
Right.
compared to them, I love the Kiss thing, so I never get involved in any of it. I
Right.
was, I always love, Gene is such a cool guy. Like,
Mhm.
despite what anybody thinks, he's always been funny with me, always
Mhm. Mhm.
amazing. And one time I gave him a compliment at a Kiss rehearsal. Yeah, I've been to some Kiss rehearsals as just me there with those
Sure.
guys, and I can't tell you how that made me feel.
Sure. Mhm.
It's just weird, and it's like this. And then Paul and Gene just throwing pics at you.
Mhm. Right.
I'm like, just make it rain, dude. I'm here.
That's great.
So
That's great.
I told Paul. Paul came by, sat down after rehearsal, and said, "Paul, I really like how Gene plays. I love the sound. It's a huge bass sound, but I love how he plays his parts
Hmm. Agreed.
because it reminds me a little bit of that old school Motown and rock and roll.
Yep.
It's just so cool, and his pocket's amazing."
Yep. Agreed.
So I'm telling this to Paul, and Eric sits down. Eric agrees with that because they're the team, right?
Right.
The rhythm
Yeah,
section.
the rhythm.
And
Yeah,
Eric
exactly.
tell you, like, yeah, man. I mean, this guy's on point.
Yep.
But not a lot of people tell him that.
Right.
So Paul told me, tell him he's gonna love it.
Okay. Hmm.
So yeah. So I have this funny. I don't even know he knows me or knows I exist.
Right.
Probably.
Mhm.
But giving him a compliment was really cool because it made him very happy,
Right. Right.
to get a compliment on his bass playing, which I love.
Yeah,
I
I
love
think he's very underrated as a bass player. Personally, I think.
I love his bass playing.
Agreed.
So
Agreed.
yeah, man, it's just fun times with those guys.
Awesome. Before you mentioned Steel Panther, right? So I think you've toured with Steel Panther, with Magnetico, right?
Yeah, because they became a bit of fans. Like they
Hmm.
knew all the songs, they knew how to sing my tunes,
That's awesome.
and that just broke me, man. Like, whoa,
Right. Mhm.
bring Magnetic on tour. Wow,
Right.
they know the
Right.
songs. They sing it back to me.
Right.
That's huge. Coming from a band that I love, I think they're great. And what
Yes.
they're doing, man, they're great.
Right. Right.
I
They're
love their
hilarious,
playing.
and they're very talented also themselves.
Very talented.
Yes.
This guy played with, um, Halford, Rob
Hmm.
from Judas Priest, and he's a monster guitar player. So we're cool. I love the guys. Then then we became friends with the guys in King's X,
Okay.
and they bought our T-shirts and became fans. I was like, wow, this is the
That's awesome.
best feeling,
Hmm.
because we're talking about guys that were kind of inventing that vibe, the drop D
Yep.
before the Seattle stuff.
Hmm.
They were doing it, and I love their band. I love their vibe.
Yep.
I love how they come up with the harmonies, three-part harmonies.
Sure.
It has a little bit of Beatles in there.
Right.
Great guitar playing.
Right.
It's just
Right.
all that stuff that I like. So if they like what I do, I'm so happy, you know.
Right. Right. Right.
That's it's a secretly speaking, it's like, wow, man,
It's a validation from your peers,
makes you very happy, man. You know,
of course.
I'm not looking for attention or anything, but if somebody tells you that they genuinely like your art, because that's to me art. It's not, I'm not here pounding a song every 3 minutes like
Right.
how they do it in Nashville with 10 writers.
Sure. Mhm.
When I make a song, it's important to me.
Right. Right.
And if somebody likes it that I respect, it's a huge compliment and it makes me want to keep moving forward.
Totally makes sense. So I want to kind of step all the way almost back, I guess, to your beginning in the limelight, right? So the first I'm aware of a professional gig for you was with Christina Aguilera, right? So how did that come about? Was there something else before that that I'm not aware of, maybe? In terms
Before,
of professional gig, I'm assuming you were playing in local bands and all that before that.
yeah, man, it was a very tough time because it was
Yeah.
in between me finishing school
Mhm.
and I got a scholarship there for my songwriting. And
Nice.
I had a power trio. Uh, we did showcases for labels
Okay.
every 6 months out of MIT here in Hollywood, Musicians Institute of
Yep.
Technology.
Let's take it on. Yep.
But so you know, I took a year with a work permit to experience the life as a musician, a professional musician.
Sure.
I did some gigs that were not very fun,
Okay.
which it happens to every musician.
Of course.
And no matter where you get, once in a while you're gonna do very you're gonna do gigs that are not, it doesn't feel right anymore, but you have to because we're human beings and we gotta work.
Yeah. You
So
need to make a living. Mhm.
I'm telling you, any musician out there, be
Of
cool with
course.
it. You know,
Yep.
don't think you're, you know, that you're never gonna do gigs that you might not. You know, it's okay. You're working. You know,
Mhm.
be cool with it. It's
Yep.
not gonna be the end of the road, maybe, and it's not just that. You're not gonna just do that. But
Right.
anyway, yeah. So I was ready to maybe move on. You know, maybe go home
Mm.
and reevaluate if I should be doing this. I was about 24,
Okay.
and I got a call from this drummer from school on a payphone saying that they were auditioning musicians at SIR, this rehearsal space that I rehearsed with Paul and everyone, and
Hmm.
Kiss rehearses there.
Right.
And so I went down there and I was like, oh my God, you know, there's some teachers from school were there auditioning,
Oh, wow. Okay.
but they were teachers there, you know, they
Hmm.
were a little bit older than me, more put together, better clothing, better equipment. I'm like this guy just trying to get by, you
Hmm.
know, a little bit of talent, I guess. But anyway, I was playing Baked Potato, which was a jazz club, very well
Right.
known,
Okay.
playing
Yep.
the material from my first album.
Okay.
That's
Nice.
cool because I was doing that as a starving artist,
Right.
and hey, I signed up for it. So,
Right.
but I get this call and I go down. They never told us who it was for, but they selected me. It's like, wow, you know, they asked me to play with a group of people, and they say, you take a solo. I knew what to do, man. I could
Hmm.
play a solo for 10, 20 minutes. No
Right.
problem. Building
Sure.
that thing. The more the merrier.
Hmm.
I loved it, you know. So, all right, I get called to do an audition for Christina now. So I go to SIR again on another day. They give me a tape, and I audition for Christina. And the two teachers that I saw in the first audition were there. They got
Okay.
called back,
Okay.
and another guy that I didn't know.
Hmm.
And I got the gig. And my first show was Saturday Night Live with Christopher Walken, more cowbell.
On the, oh, okay. I never realized that that was the, okay. That's awesome.
I was there with Christina watching that skit in between performances.
Okay.
So it's like, you know, as a young guy, not knowing how important that show represents to, you know, I was being a part of a, you know, a classic skit.
Sure. Uh-huh.
The next day we played Madison Square Garden. I mean, just name it. It was really cool.
So wait, hold on. I want to make sure I'm. So your first gig with Christina was Saturday Night Live. Your first public performance, I'll say, was Madison Square Garden.
Yeah.
That's incredible. You had probably never played something like the Madison Square Garden before, right?
No, man.
So how nervous are you now at that, like at that point, or are you like, hey, I got this. This is cool.
I was playing since I was 6. The stage was my safe place.
That's awesome.
I had little hints of that as a little kid. My mom going to do some classes and the teacher picking me up and saying, "Look, this kid," telling me my mom like this kid's gonna be a good musician one day or a great musician. I had hints of pointing me in that direction as a kid and
Hmm.
teenager. Obviously, I had bumps, and I we could do many shows about this.
Right.
I don't want to bore people with my,
I don't find any of this boring. I love these stories.
um, you know, the bumps on the road. We all
Hmm.
have it. So
Right.
all I can tell anybody, don't give up, because I had a car accident before I moved here to go to school that I almost died. I was a week in the hospital,
Oh wow.
but I was partying. I was kind of going into different directions in my life.
Hmm.
That's just one thing, man. I mean, I'm
Right.
telling you. But
Right.
I did have hints that if I followed my dreams, I would do what I wanted to do.
Right.
So that was the first experience, with Christina, which, we toured. I start getting endorsements,
Hmm.
and I start getting other gigs from Christina. Like I started to play with Mark Anthony,
Okay.
which is a very different kind of music. I never
Sure.
listened to Latin music. I listened to Brazilian bossa nova, which is a little more lush. It steals from American jazz, but not salsa and Latin. That's different
Very
from
different. Yep.
Brazil. It's
Hmm.
We do have also an African influence in our music, which is
Okay.
really awesome. But I'm from the South, so I was listening to rock and roll,
Right.
but always open to that as well. But
Hmm.
going to play with Mark while I was on tour with Christina was a reaffirmation that I was doing well.
Sure.
You know what I mean? Get
So you
flown
had both gigs at the same time?
Yeah,
Wow.
they would fly me to New York to play
Hmm.
with this guy, and he's awesome. He's actually
Hmm.
a really cool performer,
Yeah.
very cool guy. And
Hmm.
it was like, cool. They offered me the gig, but my friend that played guitar on the gig and was on another gig, I didn't want to do it. I was like, I told the guys, look, my friend called me. If he
Hmm.
can't do the gig, I'll come in, but I can't take the gig behind his back,
Sure.
So I didn't take that gig.
Okay.
I don't know if that was a good call, but it's just how I operate.
Hmm.
And, then I went and auditioned for Pink. She
Hmm.
wanted a girl guitar player, so I was the only dude there.
Okay.
Another
So you
tricky,
stuck out a little bit.
yeah, completely. But I remember, man, when the musical director for Christina, 2 years later, once Christina stopped for a while,
Right.
he was working with Pink. So he called, hey, man, listen, do you want to come in and audition for this new girl?
Hmm.
And, she's looking for a girl. So I don't know if you're going to be the right fit,
Right.
but why don't you come down? And he sent me a tape. It's tapes, man. I mean,
Right.
talking ancient.
Right.
And I was like, I listened, man. I listened to the song. I was like, oh my God, I know what to do with this. I'm gonna bring it on 10. It
Hmm.
sounds like a fake guitar.
Okay.
I'm gonna bring this on 10. I don't want to say, but balls to this music.
Sure.
That's what I'm gonna do.
Hmm.
I knew the effects to use. So I showed up, I played, I think it was like a verse and a chorus. The band stopped. No, no, that's it. The drummer threw the sticks. No, no, that's it. We
Hmm.
don't want to see anybody else. And Pink was sitting there. And
Okay.
like, really? Like, she didn't get it at first.
Right.
Why? But I think they felt something, this hump, this extra gut,
Hmm.
this extra sound. Because
Right.
we are rock and rollers. We play rock.
Right. Right.
And we pride ourselves in bringing that sound, the vibrato, the It's a different thing, man. It's
Hmm.
everything matters, and
Yeah.
that's what I brought it, and I feel like it had an effect on the band and the musicians.
Well, to me, I mean, I was always a fan growing up, even as a kid, of pop music, rock music. I could listen to Metallica and then go listen to Madonna and then go listen to Kiss and then go
Sure.
listen to Prince. Right? That's just the way I grew up, right? I had, I loved all those different styles. And to me, Pink was always a great pop artist with a little bit of a rock edge to it, right? So and she was a great performer, flying all around the arena and Kiss elements to her show, I'll say, So,
Absolutely. Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
I was
So,
able to bring that on stage, bring that edge on stage. And from that point on, she's still doing the same vibe. Like
yes.
her guitar player is great, and it's, you know what I mean? He's a bit younger than me, knew me too,
Hmm.
knows how I play. So it's nice to see that you had an influence on on somebody's sound,
Sure.
especially live. I'm
Right.
gonna say live because in the studio I recorded albums with her, but you get it's not the same.
Right. Right.
But we understand what it is, and that's how it works. All good, no biggie. But I think she's one of the coolest people to work with. She's a great singer, great performer,
Hmm. Well, I'm
great.
glad you just said great singer, right? Because was it you? I think it was you, right? You and her on the American Music Awards doing acoustic trouble, right?
Yeah,
Right. So,
just
I
so
mean,
cool.
I've watched that on YouTube before, and look, it's a great pop song, and the acoustic version you guys did. I just remember people talking about it afterwards, like, "Holy crap, this girl can sing!" But I'm
Yeah.
thinking from your point of view for a moment, you're the only musician on the stage with her. That's it, just
Singing.
you and an acoustic guitar. Do you feel any pressure? Live TV, only you carrying the whole song. What kind of pressure is that for you as a guitarist?
I no, I loved it, man. That's what music's about. I'm
Right.
gonna go sing with this girl.
Hmm.
Give me the guitar, let's play. I sing, and back you up, and we do a duet. And it's beautiful and it's
Yeah.
real, and the voice goes up, down a little bit, and
Hmm.
that's what music's about. It's not this perfect computerized
Agreed.
fix everything live. I mean, you can't do that live.
Right.
That's not cool. And
Right.
I remember, I think it was Jimmy Kimmel
Um,
afterwards saying, "Wow,
yes.
it's actually
Yes.
really
Yes. There's
cool
Jimmy Kimmel.
live. I
Yes.
can sing."
Hmm.
And
Yes, yes, that's
that was
right.
yeah, that was one of the coolest moments in my life
Mm-hmm.
because here I am with the artist that I work with, and we're playing as a duo, and I'm singing with her. That's
Yeah,
beautiful. It
yeah,
doesn't get more um, raw.
yeah, exactly. To me, that performance of that song was so raw that it was a big hit for her. But the acoustic version to me is the one. Like, if I'm going to listen to that song, that's the version because it's so raw and it's so emotional. And what you guys did on stage, I thought was great that night.
I appreciate Mike, and
Yeah.
my first show with Pink, my first performance with Pink was a tribute to Aerosmith on VH1.
Oh wow.
And we
Okay.
arranged this Jenny's Got a Gun,
Mm-hmm.
and it's a killer version with
Hmm.
guitar swells. Oh my God, man!
I've missed that one. I'm going to have to check that out.
Check it out.
Yeah.
It's a great arrangement to the song. We played for
Hmm.
Steven and Joe. All those guys were there,
Hmm.
and I took my own solo. I didn't copy Joe's solo. I did my
Yeah.
own.
Right.
And I hopped up the crowd, and
Hmm.
Pink hugged me, and we were doing this thing. It was very cool.
Hmm.
And for the time that I played with Pink, we didn't have a lot of tracks. We didn't have Pro Tools.
Right.
We didn't have a lot of the spinning.
Hmm.
It was
Okay.
raw, man. It was
Hmm.
like five people on stage playing, singing,
Sure.
and bringing it. That's
Hmm.
what I like. I
Right.
don't mind all the other stuff. That's cool.
Right. Right.
Making a big show for the audience.
Right. Right. Right.
If you can make it, if you can make a great show with just what we got, that's what performance is for.
Agreed.
That's what being a good performer is.
Agreed.
If you bring a computer on stage and press play, you're cheating.
You're cheating. I agree. I fully
Cheating,
agree.
and you should be caught and then sent it to jail. No, I'm kidding. But think about that.
Yes, I
Think
agree.
about that for a second. If there
Hmm.
was a law, Look, man, you can't go on stage and fake. The public doesn't know that he thinks you're singing.
Right.
He thinks you're playing that guitar, but
Mhm.
you're not.
Right. Right. No, music's meant
I'm
to be
not.
live. It doesn't have to be perfect. To me, it should be live.
Yeah.
Hmm.
I mean, otherwise, it's just never going to stop.
Agreed. Agreed. Now, you
But
said
I'm
before,
kidding with the jail thing, by the way.
what was that?
I'm kidding with the jail thing.
Yeah, I know you are. Everybody knows you.
But
Don't
I'm
worry
just
about that.
saying, like, please
Right. Yeah.
stop using the computer to perform for you.
Agreed.
That's just not
100%.
true, man.
Which is why I love that acoustic performance of Trouble. Because to me, that's what music's about. It's just raw. It's emotional. Just two people singing
Yeah.
acoustic guitar. It's awesome. It's awesome.
And it wasn't perfect.
Right. But it was great though. To me, it was absolutely great. So you
And
mentioned before you actually recorded on one of Pink's albums. I think it's I'm Not Dead, if I'm
yes,
correct, right?
yeah,
Do you
yeah.
know what songs you were on? Because there was a couple of big hits on that album, I know. Do you
Yeah,
remember what
one
songs?
was the name of the song, I'm Not Dead.
Okay.
I don't remember the other one, but I
Okay.
remember being very not happy about anything.
Hmm.
It
Okay,
was
interesting.
very, it didn't matter to me
Hmm.
because I don't want a producer to tell me what to play.
Okay.
It's not, you're not getting the best out of me.
Hmm.
If you wanted me to play something, just play yourself.
Right.
It's
Right.
like you don't need me to play that.
Sure, that makes
And,
sense.
and I don't care so much, man. I want to hear performances. I want to hear Janis Joplin for real. If
Hmm.
you want to do something, man, just get in there and sing. You're
Hmm.
great.
Hmm.
You're a great singer.
Right. Right.
All I'm
Absolutely.
saying, man, is like I'm not a huge fan of that, and I'm not a huge fan of stealing.
Right.
If you can come, I'm not talking about Pink right now. I'm
Right. No,
talking
I think
about,
you're talking in general.
yeah, right now I'm talking about pop.
Hmm.
I went to check out the top 40 on Spotify the other day, and
Hmm.
because I produce and I like to be in tune with what's going on,
Hmm.
and I heard this new song from Bieber. I don't listen to Bieber
Hmm.
that much,
Hmm.
but he as soon as I heard that song, I was like, why did you steal Gautier, somebody that I used to know?
Hmm.
That's what I thought about.
Right.
Why did you steal? And then I thought, okay, it's not him because he has 7 or 10 people writing each song for him.
Hmm.
And then a friend of mine that plays with that writes with Bieber once in a while jumped in and it said told me that they gave credit to Gautier,
Oh,
but
really? Okay.
but they didn't. But Gautier wasn't there writing. They gave credit because they stole it.
They stole it. Right. Hmm. Hmm.
And then I found that the Gautier stole it from the Brazilian classic, like
Oh,
bossa nova
okay.
musicians. So all these people are taking from. They know where they're taking.
Right.
What I'm trying to explain and coming to is we are a walking jukebox of
Yep.
what we listen to. We are
Yes.
that.
Hmm.
And if you allow yourself to let that come out naturally when you're writing, it's not going to sound like one thing.
Hmm.
It's going to sound like you, which is a combination of what you listen to your whole life.
Sure. Sure.
But the way we are living is so rapid, it's so fast that
Hmm.
we humans can't even catch up. We need 10 people to be writing, 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 and you're never going to remember the song. So the timeless music that we still listen to,
Yep.
none of the songs will matter in 10 years. It's very sad.
Mhm.
And
So
it
would
comes
you
down
agree
to
with
one
Gene
thing.
Simmons that rock is dead?
Nah, Gene is just, it's, I get what you're saying. I
Uh,
get what you're saying.
uh,
But yeah, man, people are still doing it and
yep.
bringing beautiful music. The problem is money. When people stop thinking about money, we're gonna listen to music that was timeless.
Hmm.
Money makes you come up with 20 songs every day, and it doesn't matter anymore.
Right.
It doesn't matter. It's money. It's the
Hmm.
money machine. It's the money machine. It sucks, man. It's
Hmm.
horrible,
Hmm.
and I still don't like it.
Hmm.
I don't know how I'm gonna fit, but I don't like it. I don't partake. So
Right. Right. And look, I think that shows, like I said before, with the solo album that you did, right, acid guitar, nobody's going to mistake that for 4-minute pop songs that were cookie cutter, so to speak, right? You're out there doing your thing, being honest, being real. And to me, that comes through in all the music that you play.
Thank you, Mike.
Yeah.
That is huge, man. I appreciate that you listen to this stuff
Yeah.
and I know you did it. I know
Yeah.
you what you're saying. You definitely know your stuff, and
Oh, thank you.
I appreciate that.
Thank you. So now the last side of your, to me, amazing journey with all of this is you've been on some of these talk shows as a guitarist, right? The Voice, American Idol, In Excess,
Rockstar.
Rockstar, right? Which led
That
to
was
the
the
Paul
first
Stanley
one.
thing,
Yeah.
right?
That's
So,
how Paul saw me play.
right,
That's amazing. Yeah.
right. So how are those experiences? You mentioned before rehearsing and things like that. And that's one of the things my wife likes to watch a lot of these shows. And I'm
Yeah.
always thinking from the musician's point of view, I'm like, I see Kiss getting ready for a tour and they rehearse for 2 weeks, the same 20 songs that they've done for 40 years. And that's not a knock. It's just they want to be tight. They want to be there. And then you watch these
Absolutely.
shows, whether it's American Idol, The Voice, these artists that are singing and the bands seem like they have 24 hours to get it all together, sometimes new arrangements of songs, abbreviated versions. How do you guys do that? How do you pull that off?
Well, there's a difference in between musician types. You know, some of us are, as I described earlier, garage musicians.
Sure.
We grew up in playing and just
Mm-hmm.
playing. It's not about music education. It's
Mm-hmm.
about attitude.
Mm-hmm.
That's why we can talk about punk rock. We can talk about punk rock and rock.
Yes.
We can
Yes.
talk about Paul Stanley having a punk rock attitude
Mm-hmm.
in Kiss early on, and it's like, wow, we want to watch this guys play. They're
Sure.
crazy,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
and I love that. That's what I never let go. That's for me the foundation of performance. It's the foundation of creating music that has an impact, that will change people's lives, that will change, that will have an impact on on a nation or on a problem. Music is bigger than just music, man.
Mm-hmm.
Here's a platform for us to change the world. So that's one type of musician. And then there's the professional musician that you put something in front of them and they will play, they will never make a mistake.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a difference in between classical musician and Western, like popular music, like
Sure.
jazz. Classical musicians don't learn harmony.
Okay.
They can't improvise.
Mm.
See what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
But
Sure.
popular music, like musicians that play jazz, they have to execute as well.
Right.
You have to learn how to execute.
Mm.
And then what do you do after? Let's get out now. Now the thing's going to start.
Right.
That's when we go in. That's when we start playing on the spot.
Right.
Things that we'll never play again. So for you to do a show like that, you have to be able to have a little bit of that classical with the popular, be able to read, and also be able to maybe add things that were not there,
Mm-hmm.
spice it up.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? And it takes good musicians to be in those shows to reproduce and be quick
Yes.
without putting your heart too much. Because
Okay.
when you go on tour, Mike, think about this.
Mm-hmm.
It gets better.
Right. Mm-hmm.
And I was talking to you about Live to Win.
Yep.
It got better. It got
Right.
crazier.
Right.
But when you're on a TV show, how fast can you make it better?
Right. Well, that's the part to me is I'm always like, you guys probably just started rehearsing this, and last night is a 2-minute live performance now, and then it's gone forever. Well, except for
How
on
are you
YouTube,
gonna do it?
you can keep watching it, but you don't perform that again.
Yeah, man, and you don't feel it. There's nothing you can grab on.
Mm-hmm.
So how are you gonna do Bohemian Rhapsody one take on live TV and
Right.
sing and play the solo and
Right.
play with feel and wow,
Mm-hmm.
because you've got to have the garage experience.
Right.
You have to have the classical and popular understanding of music.
Right. Right.
And then it's individuality. Are you a technical player or you're a soul player or you a combo of both?
Mm-hmm.
And I would like to think that I'm always tackling all of it because that's who I am. I
Right.
feel it. I also like technical stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But music with no attitude is no music. If you don't
Well
make
said.
us feel something, why play?
Well said.
Yeah, man.
Well said.
So that made me be able to play on Rockstar both seasons.
Mm-hmm.
Made me play on The Voice. It made me play on American Idol. I don't know who done all those three shows, but
Right. That's what I was going to ask you. Has anybody else done all three of those? Probably not,
no,
right?
but it's not being easy, man. There's a lot
No.
of political things, a lot of differences with the musical director. Sometimes
Hmm.
if you question something, it's not being easy for me, man.
Hmm.
Never. I'm not a yes man, so
Right. Right.
I am a
Fascinating.
very compassionate person, and I
Mm-hmm.
understand my role.
Right.
I respect that. That's what I'm doing there.
Right. Right.
But it just I can't. Sometimes I want to know why. Why? Why? No, I want to do the soul, dude. It's Bohemian Rhapsody. You know.
Right. 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 Absolutely.
And I'm sure the fans would thank me at one point because that's what they want to hear. They want to hear that Brian May solo.
Of course.
They want to hear what rock and roll is about. If
Right.
I listen to the Foo Fighters every day and not have a solo, I'm like, dude, let somebody do some of that, man.
Right.
The rock and roll is not supposed to be safe.
Right. Right.
Let's
So,
get let's get some crazy going on. I like rock and roll because of the craziness, the guitar playing,
right.
the
Makes sense.
Bonham, the
Right. Right. So speaking of rock and roll, then I think when you were on American Idol, correct me if I'm wrong, you did the Rock Week, and I believe,
first time, yeah.
and then was Adam Lambert on that year with
Yeah,
you?
the first time I did, it was 2009, and
Right.
I don't want to tell you the story
Oh no.
because I know I don't want it to, man. It doesn't help me in any way, shape, or form.
Okay.
But it's just bad decisions,
Hmm.
from people that run certain things there.
Okay.
Bad
Okay.
decisions, and I don't like compromising if I'm
Hmm.
on the spot.
Okay.
That's your face, that's your sound.
Right. Okay. So it
So
sounds like then the American Idol thing wasn't as good of an experience for you as maybe the other two.
yeah, the first time I went there wasn't.
Okay.
Um, I don't want to talk about it because I
That's
don't think
fair.
it serves me the purpose. I am that guy that
Mhm.
likes to speak the truth,
Sure.
and I'm not afraid of it, but I don't think it's 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 um it's necessary. And sometimes if you don't have anything good to say, don't say it.
I
And
100% agree. And I certainly
respect
respect
those
that.
guys. Yeah, I respect their decisions.
Right. Right.
Because it serves the purpose of the show. It is
Sure.
not about me.
Right.
I can only answer for me and what I think is important. But when the thing that you're participating, it's bigger than you, man.
Right.
Be cool with it, respect it,
Mm-hmm.
brush it off, and go to the next.
Yep. I
So
think.
I quit The Voice
Mm-hmm.
in 2013,
Okay.
and I went to do this final of the soccer game, the biggest soccer game in America,
Okay.
which is Central North America all the way to South America. We have the
Mm-hmm.
Champions League in America.
Mm-hmm.
Europe has the Champions League. We call the Libertadores Cup in
Okay.
South America, right?
Mm-hmm.
Which is like Brazilian teams, Argentinian teams, and those are like, if you talk soccer, man, it doesn't get better. Okay.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
So I went down there. I was invited to play in the final, which was awesome for me.
Mm.
And I quit The Voice because of all these things that we're talking about,
Sure.
And my dad wasn't well, so I was hanging out with my dad, in
Mm-hmm.
the hospital, which made me feel great. I was like, wow, I'm actually happier here, hanging
Mm.
out with my dad in the hospital, in and out. Sometimes my brother would stay with him. Then in that whole pressure of a TV show, it doesn't matter if I'm there or not.
Right.
They're not valuing anything
Mm-hmm.
that I'm playing really. It
Right.
wasn't like Rockstar, you know what I
Right.
mean? It's a show
Okay.
that is a little more bland, like next, next, next,
Right.
next, next, money, 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 next, next, and I don't
Right.
like that. So it was killing my vibe and destroying my love for music.
Mm.
So I had to make that decision, walk away from work. It's weird,
Right. But
but
what you've said this whole conversation is you've always been true to yourself, right? Whether it's the type of music you're playing, the decisions you make in your career, right? So to me, that just sounds like an extension of everything you've said. you weren't happy there. You had to be true to yourself.
Yeah, man, it's narrowing. To this day, things are getting narrowed. People
Mm-hmm.
don't realize that that's what happens.
Mm-hmm.
Money and more, 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 fast, fast. It's like there's
Sure.
no art anymore. It's just numbers. And I
Right.
didn't like that. Being that bad, I don't like that. That's was the purpose of me being there. You know
Right.
what I mean? And
Right.
everybody's okay with it because they're making money and paying and buying shit, buying things.
Right. Right.
Oh,
That makes
I got
sense.
security. But you're not making art. Nobody knows your name, and you're not making an impact on nobody's life.
Mm-hmm. Right. Right.
By you
Now,
know.
let me ask you, and then we'll move off this topic. So, when you did perform and work with Adam Lambert that time, did you foresee him going on to doing something like I mean, he's been great in Queen now for years. Did you foresee that? Or, what were your impressions of
No,
him?
no, I thought he was amazing. I,
Hmm.
I I actually played with him in I think 2000. I played a few times with Adam,
Okay.
2015 I think, or 16 or 17. It was really cool.
Mm.
Um, I don't I don't know if he exactly gets what we like.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Hmm.
He's got a gift.
Right. He does.
I'm talking about rock and roll.
Yes.
I don't
Hmm.
know if he gets exactly what that means and how crazy.
Interesting.
It's not of the drugs, it's
Right.
the attitude,
Right.
the abandonment.
Hmm. Right. Okay.
You have to have abandonment
Hmm.
like Freddie had it.
Sure. Sure.
You can't like Prince had it.
Yes.
Doesn't care.
Right. Yep.
You have to be that
Right.
Paul Stanley.
Yep.
Abandonment, let it all in there. It
Yep.
doesn't matter. It's gonna
Yep.
go crazy, and you're like, yeah, I'm entertained.
Hmm.
I can go home happy.
Right.
So, but I did get invited to come back on Idol from 2014 to 16, and it was a lot of fun because I would just come in, they would roll my gear in.
Okay.
Last minute, I'm like, oh, again? Can I check my ears? Oh, yeah, it's good enough. And improvise, play the solos, play White Snake,
Right.
no time to learn John Sykes solos, which I wouldn't, he's my hero, but I don't want to
Mm.
copy. I want to do
Right.
my solo, man. I want to do my thing. I
Right.
want
Right.
to be heard. But it was so much fun. But you wake up, you're still an idol.
Mm.
You're still playing for J-Lo. It's weird. And she liked it. It was like exciting at the time
Hmm.
because we're playing some rock and roll
Sure.
with this kid named Caleb Johnson.
I remember. Yes.
He
Right.
was killing it, and there
Yes.
was abandonment there. He
Hmm.
fell out of the stage. Yes, this is rock and roll. I like
Right.
that.
Yes.
Let it all out.
Hmm.
So if we can have that, I think it's exciting.
Sure. Sure.
If everything's too safe, Mike,
Right. Right.
it's
And
just
Caleb, I'm trying to remember why I knew that name. I think he toured with Kiss a little bit after the show.
yes, I think so because you won that year, the first
Okay.
year I did, and I
Okay.
think maybe Doc picked him up as
Okay.
an artist. I don't know what he's up to, but he was so good.
Mm. Okay.
More my vibe than
Right.
just a little more like wow, dude. He's just like wow, man.
Sure. Sure.
And I
That makes
like
sense.
that. I like rock and roll. I like abandonment. I like, yeah, leave it all in there. It doesn't
Right.
matter what's going to happen after the show's done.
Right.
Am
Okay.
I am I live? Am I gonna live? Am I alive? No, it doesn't matter. This is the
Doesn't
last
matter.
thing I'm doing,
Right.
and I
That's
like
awesome.
that, man. I like the punk rock attitude in rock and roll.
Agreed. No, my friends think I'm nuts. I like the Sex Pistols, the Ramones. They're like, they can't sing. I'm like, oh, there's an attitude there. There's an attitude you don't
Right.
get elsewhere.
Yeah, and if you bring it to rock,
Hmm.
the best rock that we love, Zeppelin.
Yep.
It's abandonment. It's
Yep.
like, yeah, it's crazy.
Agreed.
We want to
Agreed.
see that. We don't want everything perfect, nice.
Agreed. 100% agreed.
We want to let it all out. We need a
Right.
place to put that out. The frustration, the being a rebel.
Hmm.
We need a place to do that. And rock and roll to me is a sanctuary, a place we all can be cool, be peaceful, but also be loud and fun and expressive. And I think we
Hmm.
lost that a little.
So now I know you've got tremendous experiences that we just spent, the last 90 minutes or so talking about. And I appreciate you spending all the time talking about this because I love these stories. It's great. But now you also offer to people online teaching, right? Guitar, I think guitar, teaching, like you help produce. And so talk about some of the experiences and the way you're trying now to give back to other people who are looking to work in the industry.
You know, what happens is this. I became a producer by default
Hmm.
because I had to produce my own albums. So I learned a lot, in that process. So I started to produce bands, you know, add my songwriting and arrangement skills to whatever artists or bands I'm producing. If it's needed, I
Mm.
would never touch a song if it's river like already.
Right. Okay.
I just help produce it.
Hmm.
And what it means is to help the artist's vision come through. But I have those sets of scales of writing and arranging. So if it's necessary, your producer is right there
Mm.
to bring that, into play. And so that's one of the things that I like doing. Teaching, I do teaching on a high profile thing because
Okay.
I teach some people that maybe are professionals and
Mm.
people that are out there playing that we know, and I don't like talking about it, but
Okay.
I do that. People contact me, and because I like to. They like how I think. I'm able to explain how I improvise and how that becomes almost like a place where you can always sit down and
Mm.
use it as um, I can't find the word, but it's the way I think in improvisation. It's a little bit of a template,
Mm.
and so it works, and that you can actually use that to express your own voice.
Sure.
And if somebody can't get out of their, oh man, I always have to play this line that I wrote. I always have to play this lick that I wrote.
Hmm.
What about playing something and create a lick and a line on the spot and
On the
let it
spot,
all
right?
come together? It's very
Mm.
difficult. How do you explain
Sure.
that to a
Sure.
person that it doesn't improvise?
Mm.
So I like to help everyone with that, but encouraging them not to copy, but to let themselves come out
Mm.
because we're all so unique. Mike,
Sure.
nobody like you, nobody like Rafa,
Right.
nobody like Paul, and um, and it's important to encourage them to bring that out. And when you start improvising, no matter how quirky you start,
Hmm.
eventually your voice start coming out, and that's very important and very rewarding to people that have studied with me, and I was able to help. You know,
That's awesome.
yeah,
That's
it's
very
really
awesome.
it's like I'm trying to get this rewarding feelings by
Right.
helping others. Even I mean, it costs money. To study with somebody, it costs money to produce an album
Sure.
because I don't have.
Sure.
If I don't need the money, I wouldn't charge a dime. I don't
Right.
care.
Right.
I
No,
really don't.
but we all need to work for a living, and nobody should ever apologize for that.
No, but it's not an apology. It's just an
Hmm.
analogy of I don't care. It's not the
Hmm.
money that makes me who I am, which is
Hmm.
very unpopular in this country.
Yes.
We
Hmm.
live in the biggest capitalist
Yeah. Don't tell
society.
Gene Simmons that. He'll think you're the biggest nut probably in the
I
world.
listen. Gene is Gene. You know what I mean? I
Yeah,
love
of
Gene.
course.
I'm a fan. I grew up with him, but
Hmm.
I can't convince Gene that that's not.
Right. Right.
Like when you declare love for money, you really have an attachment to a thing.
Hmm.
I have attachment to things that maybe doesn't have a format, a physical format, which is a passion and more of a feeling or an idea.
Sure. Sure.
It's very weird, man. Who am I?
One or two more questions, if you don't mind. So, one of the things I wanted to ask you, you said you obviously grew up Kiss fan of rock music. To
Yeah.
me, always living in America, I've never been to Brazil, but I look at some of those festivals they've had there, right? Kiss playing Rio in 83, Rock in Rio in 91. It seems like Brazil has some of the best music festivals ever in the history of music. Did you ever get to go to any of those?
Yeah, I went to see Metallica when they
Okay.
came up with Injustice for All.
Okay. So it's like
That
88 or so, 89.
was like I think it was either 89 or
Yeah.
or 90.
Okay. Yeah.
It was amazing, man.
Mm.
It was so good. But
Hmm.
yeah, Rock and Rio '85
Mm.
with check it out, Mike. It was Ozzy Osbourne with
Yep.
Jakey Lee, which I
Hmm.
love, Bark at the Moon, and
Yep.
White Snake with my favorite guitar player of all time, John
Okay.
Sykes.
Yep.
Not because they came up with the White Snake 1987, and nothing ever tops that.
Hmm.
And bring Steve Vai, which is a huge. I love Steve with Eat 'em and Smile.
Sure. Hmm.
So I think it's the best thing Steve ever done.
Hmm.
But John Sykes, man, just the swagger, the vibrato, the songs
Sure.
he wrote.
Oh,
But
that
anyway,
Whitesnake album is phenomenal, and he wrote a lot of that music.
yes. So for me to be watching that at home with my parents, I was 10, 11 years old. I was like, oh
Hmm.
my God,
Hmm.
is this God?
Hmm.
Like, is this Jesus? Like,
Uh-huh.
and yeah, man, Scorpions was there. Iron Maiden with Bruce Dixon, AC/DC at their prime.
Hmm.
So, I mean, I couldn't go on. All those bands were in that festival in 1985. It was
That
500,000.
was the first one, I believe, right? Am
Yeah,
I right? Yeah.
500,000. They
Amazing.
built a city, a rock city.
Hmm.
So that has a huge impact on us,
Sure.
in Brazil. So we're
Hmm.
huge rock fans to this day,
Hmm.
even though music's not what it was, and it will never be,
Hmm.
unfortunately. It was a yeah, it had a huge impact on us,
Hmm.
and
I can't imagine that it wouldn't. Had an
yeah,
impact on me from a few thousand miles away.
hey, I went to see, I think it was '91. I went to the Rock and Rio too,
That
the
was
second
Guns N'
one.
Roses, right?
Guns N' Roses at its prime.
Right. Yeah. Use Your Illusion tour.
Yeah,
Hmm.
but it's like they were still, it wasn't my favorite band. I got to be honest with you,
Hmm.
because
Hmm.
if you listen to Pantera and
Okay.
Dimebag, eh, it's hard to go to Slash, which I really like.
Hmm.
I think he's a very good player. I love his solos in
Hmm.
Paradise City, in all those songs.
Sure.
But I was getting to a place where, uh, I was into other things at the time.
Hmm.
But I love that first album.
Hmm. Yep.
And
And I think that was Rock and Rio shows in '91 were the first ones with Matt Storm, if I remember right.
yes, Matt was playing drums.
Yep. I think those were
But I
his
gotta
first
tell
shows.
you, man, yeah, I saw Sepultura on that show,
Okay. Hmm.
and they were just like it was
Hmm.
like that thrash metal
Sure.
era with Slayer,
Hmm.
Metallica, Anthrax, Megadeth. But Sepultura was up there with those guys, and it was a big deal for us. Obviously, a Brazilian band,
Right.
which
Right.
never had something that with that magnitude. But
Hmm.
I just wanted to say that I saw Megadeth
Okay.
on
Mhm.
that show, and it was the tour for Rust in Peace. No,
Okay.
no,
Yep.
yeah, Rust in Peace
Okay. Hmm.
with Marty Friedman.
Yep. Yep.
And I gotta tell you, man, that's my favorite album from
Is
Megadeth.
it? Okay. Nice. Yep.
He made a difference. I'm telling
Sure.
everybody, if anybody's listening to this, you can never, you can never fabricate chemistry.
Hmm.
You can never, Whitesnake can never do another 1987. I don't care who they've got on guitar. I
Hmm.
don't care if it's Doug, Reb. Reb did an album with Winger
Hmm.
in the Heart of the Young that I listen to this day,
Hmm.
which was so good. He's killing, and the songs are good.
Hmm.
A great production. So that was to me his highlight.
Right.
I like John Sykes with Whitesnake in
Hmm.
'87. I
Hmm.
like Steve Vai with Eat 'em Smile.
Hmm.
I'm very specific in what I think it's amazing that had a chemistry that you can't, you know.
Okay.
Um,
Well, the example that I'll use with Kiss is that, the story's always been that Richie Sambora tried out for Kiss in
oh, I
'82.
didn't know
And,
that.
and yeah, so Richie Sambora to me is a great guitar player. He has that blues feel. He doesn't use that in Bon Jovi, but in solo. But Richie Sambora and Kiss would be all wrong. That he does not
I
belong in
have,
Kiss.
I have no. That's like I never even could imagine.
Right, exactly. So it doesn't mean that Richie Sambora is not a great guitar player in his own right. Sometimes the fit just isn't right, and that's what you're saying with some of these
I mean,
guys. You love Steve
we're,
Vai.
but we never gonna be able to tell Mike because he didn't do it.
No, he didn't. He didn't. But I can't see that as a fit. Just like
I mean,
you're saying. And go ahead. I'm sorry.
Steve Vai did play with
He
Whitesnake
did.
on an
Yes.
album,
Yes.
and it just doesn't work.
Right.
It just
Yep.
doesn't work. It doesn't have that sound. And Dave want to have two guys, and he's just, dude, you're much better with one guy. Respect this guy. Don't you can't. Sometimes you have to reach Blackmore people. And
Right.
what I mean by that, don't come on my side of the stage. I'm the only guitar player. And
Hmm.
that works for some bands. We know that.
Right.
It's not going to work for Iron Maiden,
Right.
but it's going to work for all the other ones like Queen. You don't mess with the guy, man.
Van Halen doesn't need two guitar players.
No, you don't mess with that.
Right.
That's territorial.
Hmm.
When I saw on TV Dave Coverdale in Deep Purple and and what's his name? The bass player. Oh, he sings his ass off.
Oh man, it'll come to me.
Burn. I just didn't like that.
Right.
I like the album, but
Right.
I didn't like that Dave Coverdale has to stop. He's the front man for the bass player to sing.
Sure.
It felt so awkward.
I can understand it.
When you have a guy that covers it, that has this, you don't need to bring another guy. It's just you're just killing the vibe.
Right. I can understand it.
Stop
Totally.
that. And
Mhm.
I can talk about that. I
Uh,
don't mind playing with other guitar players, but
right. Right.
I come from that school,
Right.
And
Well,
I made a joke about Richie Blackmore
uh-huh.
because he would tell his bandmate, "Don't come on my side of the stage."
Right.
Obviously, I would never do, but I always joke,
Of
"Hey
course.
man, I'll Richie Blackmore people,"
Right.
because it's funny.
Right.
It's outrageous that you tell the bass player Roger not to come on
Not to
the
come over here.
stage.
Right.
But it's hilarious to understand how territorial guitar players are,
Of
and you
course.
should respect them, man. They're giving you the songs that you ever wanted,
Agreed. Agreed.
and they
Fully.
got the sound that people love to hear.
Hmm.
Boom. What else
Yep.
do you want? You want to
Yep.
bring two guys that combined can't even get to,
Right.
so you're
Right.
losing, in my
Right. Listen, right. Subtraction by addition, really. Right.
I'm a guitar player, man. I'm always going to be a little bit too opinionated about it. If you ask me, it doesn't mean that if I'm getting paid to do a certain job, I'll
Mhm.
bring that with me.
Right. Of course. No, but everybody's
I
entitled to their
understand.
opinions.
Yeah, I understand it,
Right.
and I look at it and I see why it didn't work anymore.
Right. Well,
Yes.
let me ask you, in Brazil, do they still do these big festivals? Because I don't hear about them really much
Um,
anymore.
I think so. I mean, they did
Okay.
Rock in Rio last year,
Did they? Oh, okay. I didn't realize that.
or 2 years
2 years
ago.
ago. Right.
Slipknot, Metallica, everybody was there,
Okay.
which is
Nice.
very cool.
Right.
People still come out to see rock and roll in big festivals. But in Europe, Germany,
Right.
I mean, you have some gigantic rock festival. You can feel it. It's like, whoa,
Yes.
it's different, man. This
Yes,
is
it is.
not just dance music with lights.
Right.
There's
Right.
performances. You can actually see people using their technical skills and bringing their soul on stage and actually, you know, what's
Yep.
the point?
Yep. Agreed.
What's the
Agreed.
point to go to a festival if you just watching a light show and somebody press play? It's horrible.
Agreed. I forgot to ask you about one other thing before. Did I read right? Did you also write for some films? Right? I think Transformers and Gladiator, if I remember right. Did I read
Yeah,
that
I
correct?
did. I did some trailers
Oh,
a
okay.
while back,
Uh-huh.
with a partner, and
Nice.
I got to write some trailers for these big movies
Mm-hmm.
and out of my studio here, which was awesome. You know what I mean?
Right.
Those things are kind of cool. I would never thought about it then
Mm-hmm.
because then I wanted to play guitar, man.
Sure. Sure.
I wanted to get heard. I wanted to be heard.
Right.
And so for me at that time to be behind the stage, like
Mm-hmm.
behind the scene writing for new movies, I think I was too young to even want that.
Okay.
You know what I
Interesting.
mean? But now that I'm older, I feel like it's It could be, it's rewarding. It's an accomplishment. It's a
Hmm.
different kind of achievement that you can do.
Right.
And
Right.
I'm open to all that. That's what I was talking about, like teaching somebody to be able for them to find their own voice.
Hmm.
It's rewarding to me. Producing a band and then sitting down on their CD release party and hearing what we did,
Hmm.
see that they're killing it, that they're happy with what happened. It's
Hmm.
rewarding to me. So I've found different places to be happy, not only playing music or writing or performing my music or performing with heroes
Hmm.
like Paul. And I
Right.
found rewarding somewhere else
Hmm.
because life is not, we don't live forever, man. We have a
No.
small window, and yeah, you got to find joy in everything you do.
Well, it's like I started off saying, to me, your resume is incredible. We spoke about all the different TV shows, American Music Awards, different bands, whether it's Pink, Christina, Paul Stanley. It's just incredible the body of work that you've done over the last 20 years. We started off talking about Soul Station. The new album comes out next week. You're playing guitar on that. What comes next for you? Do you have any clue, or are you just taking it day by day?
I am taking day by day. I'm also working on new Magnetico music. I mean,
Excellent.
recorded. I'm just trying to figure out what I need to do.
Hmm.
It's so weird, things are so different, and I have an EP worth of songs, and then I have an EP worth of older songs from my first Magnetical formation,
Oh,
that
wow.
I
Okay.
never released.
Hmm.
And I have a ton of acoustic music that I never released either that I want to finish.
And I've heard you play. I mean, I love your acoustic playing. It sounds
Thank you,
great.
man. It's very different. Most
It
people
is.
don't know it, and
Mm-hmm.
even and never seen it or
Mm-hmm.
heard me play those types of music. But I like so much music. I
Yeah.
like different styles. So,
Mm-hmm.
you know, it doesn't bother me. I just need to understand what's best for me on
Mm-hmm.
how to market that,
Sure.
and understand how to do things better from now on so
Mm-hmm.
I don't make the same mistakes. I'm trying to learn from it.
No, that's all we could do. Anything
Yeah.
else you want to tell your fans before we wrap up?
Oh man, it's a pleasure talking to you. I hope
Likewise.
I didn't talk too much, but
Talk too much. I'm thinking, wow, I could probably go a few more hours and really dig into some other stuff. But
I hope and I appreciate the opportunity, that you're giving me to talk a little bit about my career and myself.
yeah,
You
no,
know,
I think it's a fascinating story. I appreciate you sharing all the things you've learned along the way, the honesty, and thank you for sharing that with all of us.
no, this has been super fun, Mike. I
Awesome.
look forward to more in the future.
Yes, likewise. Certainly, when you have some new music ready, let me know. I'll glad to have you back on, and we'll help promote that.
Awesome, man. This has been a pleasure for me. Thank you.
Same, likewise. Take it easy. Have a good one.
Take care, Mike.
All righty.
Bye.
Bye. Alrighty, there you have it. I'd like to thank Rafael for joining me and spending nearly 2 hours talking about all of his accomplishments of his career and shedding some lights and thoughts on Paul Stanley's Soul Station and Live to Win tour. That was really a lot of fun hearing those stories. Thanks so much. I know I speak on behalf of everybody listening and watching that I know you guys will really enjoy them as well. Also, if you're listening and watching this, check out Rafael's band Magnetico as well as his solo album. I think you guys will really dig that. If you're watching this on YouTube, hit that subscribe button below. If you're listening to one of my podcasts, subscribe over there as well. Also, head on over to Facebook and follow my page, The Rock Experience with Mike Brunn, where each and every day we talk about all the rock and roll music that you love. You could also follow me on Instagram and Twitter as well. That's it for this episode. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. See you all next time.